It is about 8 o'clock in the morning here on Saturday, June 20th, 2026. So we are 2/3 of the way through June. The longest day of the year is coming up here. I think Monday is going to be it. I haven't really checked to make sure it's the 22nd, but typically it is. And I'm here with the cows. The cows were moved here, I want to say 3 days ago. And I came here early to move the cows another row, but I decided, hey, I'm just going to push them a little bit more. I want them to do a little bit more damage to this row before I move to the next one. More pressure on the grass encourages the grass to grow if it's grazed a certain way. And you can see here there's lots of grass that hasn't even been touched yet. So that's goat weed. I wanted to show this to you. I'm standing right here next to a little clover patch. So there's still clovers growing even at this time. Right now it's about 75, 80 degrees, very humid. You can see the mist in the distance. Yesterday wasn't that hot, but we did get about half an inch of rain in the morning. About between 10 and noon or 1, we got majority of the rain, I think. The sheep, half the sheep did get out. I'm going to chalk that up to just another lightning. They're scared of the lightning. When the lightning strikes, they get scared and they run, The rest of the sheep were in the row. The western part of the sheep row, or the eastern part, I'm sorry, where the trees are, is very thick with grass up to my knees. Very, very thick grass. It's not Bermuda grass, it's some other type of grass. I'm not really sure what type. I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about it. Maybe it's Indian grass, I don't know. But it is thick up to my knees. Here is not as good as there, but still it's really good. Lots of good grass all around. I wanted to add a few words to the conversation about regenerative agriculture. And this question comes from another YouTuber. I think he's fairly popular. His videos are entertaining and funny. He's called, oh gosh, I don't remember. Anyway, I kind of don't want to credit him with any ideas. I don't think he brings anything new to the table except a little bit of a class-based discrimination, I'm not going to go further than that, but regenerative agriculture, the reason why farmers like it is because it's cheaper and it works, okay? If anybody says, why are you doing regenerative agriculture? The answer is because it's cheaper and it works, okay? As a farmer, we want things to be cheaper. We go to the market with the same product that everybody else has. Maybe it's a better product, maybe it's a slightly worse product. It kind of doesn't matter to us because at the end of the day, we have bills to pay, okay? And if we're not paying those bills, then we don't get to own the land. And whether or not we own the land outright, we have to think about whether it's a good decision to park our assets in land or in some other asset. You know what I'm saying? We could buy land, we could buy stock, we could, do any number of things with that money. But for whatever reason, we chose to get some land or get access to land somehow. And so we have to, justify the cost there. Okay. If farms across America were all losing money all the time, nobody would farm. We'd have to find some other way to get our food, okay? And so that's kind of, I thought it was kind of a silly argument when I first heard it, that the government needs to step in and fix prices and make sure the farmers get a good price. I'm like, that's just silly. You know what I mean? They should be competing with each other, and the people who produce the best product for the cheapest price should be farming, and the rest of them need to get out of the business and let somebody else farm. Open up that land for somebody else to come in and do their thing, okay? Now, when you go to buy regenerative products, you go on the internet and say, I'd like to buy some regenerative meat or whatever, you're going to find that there's a lot of websites offering you good, decent products. Maybe it's slightly better in quality, and they're going to charge you an arm and a leg for it, okay? Now, if money doesn't matter to you, go ahead and buy that stuff, okay? In fact, they might even put a little ribbon on it for you. Make you feel good about buying it or whatever else, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, again, that's a stupid way to buy your meat, right? You have the same problem the farmers have. You need to find the cheapest source of product that you need to eat that's decent quality, good enough, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that means most people are going to go to Costco or Walmart or some restaurant, and they're going to get their meat from there, okay? Now, How do we do regenerative agriculture at scale? The question is, can we do it at scale? The answer is yes, obviously, right? If it's cheaper to grow regenerative meat, then we should be able to offer it for a cheaper price, okay? And still make a profit, or at least similar profits to what we were making before the whole thing was introduced. Those people who are not doing regenerative, who are spending money on things that actually make things worse, they will be out of the business. They're going to lose their money. They're going to decide that they'd rather park their money in something other than land, and they're going to free up the land for other people to farm it, theoretically, okay? The way things work in reality is people park their assets in real estate, okay? Especially agricultural real estate. It's just something people have done since the beginning of time, okay? So if you decide that, hey, I have $1 billion, I would like to buy, 1 million acres or whatever, you're going to have a hard time finding someone willing to sell to you, right? Most of the land is not even for sale for any price. And the good land, the decent land, that's kind of ideal for farming, good luck, because you're going to have to basically outbid everybody else and at the same time convince people to sell their land that they've held for generations, right? So that's just not going to happen. Now, Greg Judy, I think, was one of the first people to popularize the idea of leasing land rather than buying it, which is a great way for people to get started in agriculture. You get limited acreage. You just have to come up with that lease money every year. And the honest truth is, if you can't come up with it, oh well, I'm sorry, and you move on to some other business. You know what I mean? But leasing the land is a good idea because you don't have to have $1 trillion in assets to get started, right? But the reality is most people aren't opening up their land to lease. They're doing whatever farming they're doing. They're making maybe $5 or $10, and then they say that's good enough. But they're not willing to allow other people onto their land to do other stuff, right? That cow is grazing under the wire, which is strange to me. Oh, well. Anyway, so there's kind of some things that happen. However, the good news is this: people die. I probably should rephrase that, but the good news is that eventually the assets are transferred to somebody else, okay? And typically the next generation, what they do is they take the land, they cut it into pieces, and they sell it off, try to make a bunch of money. And that's the only reason why I'm here right now, is this used to be part of a larger farm, which a couple generations ago was cut up because, granddad died, and sold in big parcels. And then last generation, back in the, I think back in the 80s or so, grandpa died again, and they cut up the smaller piece of land. So that's why I'm sitting on, 2 30-acre parcels, right? Why I was able to get it is because somebody decided to sell grandpa's land rather than try to do what grandpa did. You know what I mean? So there is good news. Over time, things do happen. Things do move. The history of Texas rural counties is a long time ago. There's only a couple people living there that owned all the land. And then they die, and then a couple more people move in and buy some of the land. And then they die, and then some more people move in and take over the land. And so on and so forth. So the counties eventually start growing up. Is that dog sneezing or something? Anyway, so there's good news there. I'm just trying to say that even though things look stagnant, they're not. They're just moving slower than you think, right? Okay, so regenerative agriculture should be cheaper. The product should be cheaper, and we should be taking over any day now Walmart and Costco. Costco and Walmart should be moving over to this system if we're able to beat them on price. Okay, that's the key here. So one of my goals with this farm is I don't intend to put a blue ribbon on my meat. I know a couple other people that are doing the same thing I'm doing. They're trying to sell their meat at a good value so that more people can buy it. Okay, and we're not trying to blow smoke up your butt. We're going to be honest with you that, hey, it's just meat. If there is a health potential benefit to regeneratively grown meat, that's great. We might put regenerative somewhere on our website, but at the end of the day, we're going to tell people it's meat and it tastes good, and you make hamburgers out of it, okay? And we're going to try to keep our prices very, very competitive with the big box stores. And we can do that. That's the trick. We can do that. especially when cattle prices are high, right? Because our system is broken. There's somebody in the middle between the selling of the cattle and the processing of the cattle. Somebody is pocketing a huge amount of money and raising prices artificially. So undercutting them is pretty dang easy, right? It's pretty easy to beat corrupt systems, right? You just do your thing and do it honestly, and people are going to know eventually that you're doing things right, okay? So my news to you is this. Go and look for farms, preferably in your area, and this is not going to be an easy thing to do, and I know, but go find some farms that sell meat or buy a cow from them and have it processed locally, and don't pay too much. The people that are out there charging you an arm and a leg for their products, don't buy from them, okay? They're not helping. I should put it that way. They're not helping. Somebody is getting rich, and as far as I know, they're trying to limit the amount of product on the market. And the way they're going to limit that is they're going to take their profits, and they're not going to buy more land and buy more cattle. They're not going to expand their herd, okay? The guys that are selling at Walmart prices or near Walmart prices, like myself, we're trying to get more land. We're trying to up and expand our operation. I am literally, like, for the couple of years now, I've been looking out for 1,000-acre pastures. I think I can probably take my books to the bank and say, look, I've been doing this for 5 years. I'm actually making money on the limited acreage I have. If I had more acres, I'd make even more money, okay? And I think it would actually work, okay? And then if I can do it on 1,000 acre, I can do it on 100,000 acres. I can do it on 1,000,000 acres, right? And eventually we can do it for the entire economy. Like, every cow grown can be grown regenerationally by people who care about delivering a product for a good price, right? So that's my message. If you're buying regenerative products, they should be cheaper. And if they're not, don't buy it, okay? I hate to do that to other people in my shoes, but really we need to take over the entire industry. We need to change the way that the farm products are bought and sold. We need to get out of this corrupt system that's pocketing, thousands and thousands of dollars per cow that isn't ending up in the farmer's pocket and isn't ending up in the trucker's pocket and certainly isn't ending up in the packer's pocket. So somebody along the way is getting rich off of all the work we're doing, and we're going to change that, okay? That's my message. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. Things are going really good right now. I just wish I had more time to put into the pasture. I'm thinking of putting together the steer. They're not steer, they're bulls. Just selling them as is. I'm not going to do much with them. I think I should get a decent price, and it's probably not worth the trouble to doctor them up and package them up for sale. Let somebody else who knows what they're doing get those steer or those bulls at a slightly lower price. Let them work on them and doctor them up. Let them raise them to weight. And there's people out there that are making money off of the calves that we sell, because this is a cow-calf operation, right? My big goals are to winter the cows, come out with a calf crop and get rid of it, and do it again the next year, okay? There's other people that are really close to me, by the way. I met a couple. They buy the calves and they put them on pasture. They know how to keep them healthy. They know how to keep them strong, and they're making money by putting pounds on the frame there, okay? So I'm going to do my part, let them take the calves, because I'm not good at making little calves into big calves into steer. You know what I mean? That's kind of my point there. Okay. The sheep business, I think, is doing just fine. Sheep are still breaking out, but it's kind of not a big deal anymore. It's funny because today I went out to the sheep and said, hey, in my side-by-side, you need to go back. And they all knew where they had to go. I just had to follow them, So anyway, guys, have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.